What's going on, guys? Pix Cantroy back in with a brand new video. We are here at Suzuka for the Nations Cup race. As you can see, we are in our Nissan GTR, and basically 75% of the lobbies in the GTR too, as we are starting, well, not starting, but we are ranked 15th place in this lobby, as we have a really competitive lobby here. As we have, I think this is the second tier in all of North America, so it's going to be a really interesting race, and hopefully we can get through it without any issues. So jumping into the race, I was feeling very confident. I'm really good at Suzuka, and with the GTR I was feeling really good, especially during the practice races. But if we are able to just avoid the mistakes, we should do well, because it's really easy to make a mistake here, especially because you just have so much throttle input in this car. But not only that, on the corners it's not the best in the corners. I know like the Toyota's a lot better on the corners, especially the Alpha, you know, those nimble cars. But in the GTR, where you make majority of the speed is on the straightaways. That's where it just comes alive, and you're able just to make so much speed when it comes down to this racetrack. So before we jump into qualifying here, if you guys really enjoy the content, we're trying to reach the goal of 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So again, if you guys really enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel when you guys do so. Anyways, that's not promoting myself. Let's jump straight into qualifying. So jumping into qualifying here, my goal was to get at least a mid 158. If we can stay in the slipstream of one of these cars and just make the best lap that we can definitely get below a 158 and hit the 157s. But we're gonna have to push as best as we can, not make any mistakes, and just stay behind the slipstream of one of these cars ahead of us. As I think a 157 high will be a very competitive lap though. But let's see what happens now as we come out onto the track for our flyer laps now. So coming to the end of our first flyer lap, we're heading to the final chicane here. We're in the back of the Canadian ahead of us. As we come out of the final chicane, coming to the final corner, we're going all the way to the inside, try to stay in the slipstream. I think we're a little too far back to get into the slipstream, but we get a 158.6, so good enough to get 13th place. As you can see, the pole position car right now has a 157.7, so about a whole second slower than pole position. So we got to really push here, but we get a penalty because we go a little bit wide coming out of turn number 1, and that basically ends our qualifying, as we are going to start this race in 13th place as we get the confirmation there. So when coming into the race here, we have to worry about the tires, we have to worry about the cars ahead of us, especially because this track is just known for causing a big train. It's just so difficult to make overtakes on this track, unless if you go side by side into the hairpin or into the final hairpin, or even going to 130R. But when going to the points, we're going to be racing for 262 points. So if we can get in first place, or even, I doubt we're going to get first place, but if we can get maybe like 4th or 5th place, we can still come home with a lot of points. But it's up to us if we can avoid all the mistakes, make as many overtakes as we can, implement the strategy to its perfection, and hopefully we can come out of this race in better than 7th or 6th place. So coming to the intro here, we had to use all 3 tire compounds, as the softs, mediums, and hards were presented to us, but I didn't really know the strategy here. So what we were gonna do was just go on the softs, use the softs until lap number 7, switch off from the softs to another set of softs, and then around lap 14 switch off to the mediums, and then lap 15 switch off to the hard. So we're gonna do a 3-stop right here. Yeah, 3 stops. So, but you're gonna see right here that that wasn't the best strategy to do on this racetrack. But again, I didn't really know the strategy, so I just kind of winged it there and hoped for the best. But you're gonna see what ends up happening here as we jump into the race now. So as we jump into the race now, we are coming out of the final corner, as we are gonna be crossing the start finish line to start our first lap here. Going down start finish line, you can see that we gained such a huge amount of time on the orange car ahead of us, as we're gonna go onto the inside here. Going onto the inside of the orange car, we're going to try to make a move onto the inside, and we are able to do so as we get already 1 position, and we've just gotten to turn number 1. So feeling very confident here now as we set our sights on 11th and head into Spoon Curve. So coming into Spoon Curve here, 11th place car has a penalty ahead of us, so we just have to focus on trying to catch up to him, and hopefully we can get into a slipstream of him, and that can propel us forward, and we can hopefully catch up to that train of cars right ahead of us and not lose a lot of time. Now as we come into the straightaway leading us to 130R, so coming down the straightaway, we fast forward here. You can see how much time we've gained on the 2 cars ahead of us, as there was another car that had a service penalty, but 10th place goes a little bit wide going out of 130R, and they're going side by side now as we head into the chicane. and we gain a lot of time going into the chicane. As you can see, the Canadian still is messing up there as he goes very, very wide coming out of the chicane, and we're making another overtake there on the Canadian, and we are promoted into 10th place as we are now setting our sights on the Atenza right ahead of us in 9th place. So trying to make a move onto the inside. We think twice before doing that move, as we're just gonna follow him into the turn number 1 behind him as we come out into the S curves, following him right here. We're just gonna fast forward here to see if we can try to get as close as we can and maybe make a movement to go into Dunlop curve, but you can see we're so close but still so far away as we are now on his back bumper here as we head into Degner 1. Looking out to the inside out of Dunlop curves, we're gonna try and make a move into Degner 1, but we back out of the move again, and we have to see if we could try to get around him, because you can see right on the mini map right behind us that there's a car pressuring us, and it's actually the Canadian. So I can't let the Canadian get ahead of us as we are on the softs right now, so we have to use these softs as much as we can and just be as quick as we can, and hopefully we can at least get around this car and use up the softs to their full advantage. So coming out of the final corner here, 9th place comes into the pits, and he's gonna switch off from the mediums to another set of tires as we come down into lap number 3. Coming to lap number 3, 10th place is on our inside here as we're going into turn number 1 on the straightaway. Staying on the outside here as we head into turn number 1. We have to let the Canadian go. If not, we would go side by side. And I definitely don't want to go side by side, especially on the outside heading to turn number 1, as that could spell disaster. As especially if you hit that rumble strip on the outside, you just end up spinning out. So we let the Canadian ahead of us as we now jump into lap number 4. Coming to Degner 2. We're going down the straightaway that's going to lead us into the hairpin. We're just staying right behind the Canadian, just biding our time. But we're also saving fuel. That's one thing I forgot to mention in the strategy, is that fuel is very, very crucial here, as we're going to either save as much fuel as we can and not have to put in fuel, or we're going to use up the car and we're going to have to put in some fuel, whether it's 1 or 2 laps. Either way, it's going to slow us down if we have to put fuel in. So we're going to try to do it as best as we can to save some fuel as we head into Spoon Curve. So coming to Spoon Curve, the car ahead of us, not sure what happened to him. He actually wiggled, I don't know, he just kind of just went to the right. It almost looked like something broke on his car, but ends up going to the right, goes straight into the wall, and we make an easy overtake on him, and as we capitalize on his mistake. So coming out of the last chicane now, you see more cars ahead of us are coming to the pits, as there's actually a car on the softs that came in and a car on the medium. So everyone just jumbled around on different types of strategies, as we're just trying to maintain our strategy here as we're on lap number 6 now, and hopefully our tires can hold up until lap number 7 is that when we're going to make our pit stop. So coming to the final chicane now, you see 6th place goes a little bit wide, and look at how much time we're gaining on him as we come into the final chicane. 6th place goes a little bit loose, and he actually goes into the gravel trap, and we're going to capitalize on his mistake there, as we are now in 6th place on lap number 6, jumping into lap number 7 now, and we're looking pretty here as we are in 6th place right now going into the pits. We're gonna come in, switch off from the softs to the softs, and you can see right there we have not been saving enough fuel, so we still got to put in some fuel, but we're gonna hold it off until maybe the next pit stop to put in some more fuel, because as you can see here, if we can minimize the amount of fuel that we have in the car and just run on the softs, we can definitely put in some quick lap times and hopefully overtake more and more cars to help us out when we have to come into the next time for the pits. So coming out of the pits, we are in 8th place as we head into the S curves, and we set our sights on the other Canadian right ahead of us as we come out of the final corner, leading us into Dunlop curve. Coming to Dunlop curve, you can see how much time we're gaining on the yellow GTR ahead of us, because I think he's either on the mediums or the hard. So whether he's on one of those, we're just gaining so much time here as we head into Degner 1. So coming to Degner 1, going to Degner 2, look at how close we are, as we are almost now on his back bumper here. So I'm liking what I'm seeing here, since we are on the softs. We just have to push, and just try to gain as much ground, as much time as we can to the leader, as we are trying to make a move onto the inside into the hairpin, but we have to back out of there as Canadian is too far ahead of us. So coming to Spoon Curve now on lap number 8, or I think we were still on lap number 8. We are still right behind the Canadian here, as we're on the straightaway here, leading us to 130R. We're trying to make a move to the outside, but he covers us, and we go into the inside, and he does the exact same. So we're just going to give him a little bump here. Going to 130R, we help him out a little bit, so we give him a bump. Going to 130R, very conservative, as we don't want to run out wide and end up spinning out or anything like that. As we head into the final chicane, we're staying right behind the yellow GTR, as we're just trying to look around, but he's going to come into the pits here as we're going to stay on the outside. He actually runs into the wall, and he screws up big time as he ran into the wall, and then has to go into the pit. So not sure how much time that cost him, but that's gonna definitely help us out as we are now heading into the hairpin. But heading to the hairpin, we actually brake very late. We brake too late as we actually been it there, and we are demoted down into 7th place as we were in 5th place there. And you can see the yellow GTR that actually made a mistake coming into the pits is now behind us as we're just trying to get back onto the power here, and hopefully we can hold off the yellow GTR now as he's moving on to the inside here as we head into Spoon Curve, staying on the outside, but he is able to make the overtake on us, and he is able to get 7th place away from us as we now jump up into lap number 10. So coming to lap number 10, a couple of cars came into the pits, so that's why we are up into 8th again, or 7th. But you can see there's a car that's trying to make a move onto the inside of 130R, and I honestly did not see him as I was too focused on the fuel. And you can see that he's going to try to get around us here as we come out of the final chicane. Coming to the final chicane, we're trying to keep it onto the inside and hold our line here as he's going to be on our slipstream here. We're just keeping it onto the inside so we can hopefully hold our spot as we head into turn number 1 as we now jump up into lap number 11. So coming to lap number 11, the Canadian makes a great move on the outside, and we give him the position there as I don't want to risk fighting going into that corner and accidentally hitting him out as we already made contact with him going to 130R. So as we head into S curves here, we're still right behind the Canadian, and we're just going to follow him here as we come into the final part of the S curves and heading into down lap curve. So jumping up now into lap number 12, the car right ahead of us actually just came out of the pits, so we have to focus on him now as I think he's got slower tires than us. As you can see how much time we're actually gaining on him as we come out Degner too. So going down the short straightaway, leading us into the hairpin. We're in the slipstream of 7th place here as we come into the hairpin, and look at how much time we're gaining on him as he actually goes very wide going to the hairpin. We're coming out here very cautiously, but we come out a little too aggressive with the throttle as we were just trying to take it cautiously, but I think I just saw the gap there and try to slam back onto the throttle so I can try to get onto the outside of the car ahead of us, but that's going to cost us, as you can see, it cost us 6 seconds because of that mistake, as we are now going to have to come into the pits, switch off from the softs to the mediums, and have to put a little bit of fuel in here as you can see we're running very low on fuel. So coming into the pits now, we're switching off to the mediums, put in that extra lap of fuel, and now we have to stay on the mediums until the end of this lap, and then switch off from the mediums to the hards as we are demoted all the way to 13th place. So jumping to the final chicane here, after making 2 mistakes in this race, we're going to come into the pits, and we almost missed it there. You can see how close we were to almost missing it and running into the wall. And we're going to switch off from the mediums to the hards as we do that now. And coming out of the pits, we come out in 14th place. So our strategy did not work out for us. But not only that, those mistakes really costed us as we are going to finish this race in 14th place, as we really don't have to worry about the car behind us since he's so far away. So coming out of the final time into the final chicane, going to the final corner on the final lap, a lot of finals there. We're going to finish this race in 14th place. As we did start in 13th, but we did lose 1 position, and coming to find out that the strategy here that I implemented was just terrible. Honestly, we could have just stayed on the softs, switched off to the mediums, and we actually would have just ran a 2-stop and would have saved us a bunch of time. But not only that, but if we wouldn't have made those mistakes, we probably could have saved an extra 14 seconds. So 14 seconds plus another, 7-8 seconds for not coming into the pit stop again. Who knows where we would have came out, but we did finish this race in 14th place as we only get 120 points here. Very terrible day at Suzuka, but we ended up doing another race and we actually finished in 5th, so it wasn't that terrible of a day here at Suzuka, but just this race was not according to plan. But anyways, you learn from your mistakes. Definitely whenever I go into the next Nations Cup race or the next Manufacturer Cup race, I'm definitely going to look at the strategy just to make sure I know what I'm doing and not risk having this happen again. So yeah, if you guys really enjoyed the video, again, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video. It really helps out the channel when you guys do so. And if you guys really enjoyed the video, I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.